What is up, everybody? We are so pumped to be here today because it is no longer a week where we have nothing to talk about or preview because it is finally race week. All the social media admins for all the teams are doing their memes about how the break is over, the little spring break we had, and race week is back, and they're hilarious, and that gets us excited because another week without either recapping a race or looking forward to one is not what we're looking for at the beginning of the season. We know we're going to have an off season to have a whole bunch of nonsense, and we have a summer break. So I think I can speak for all the F1 fans out there that a spring break was not needed or welcomed. If the teams needed a little reset, I hope they got it. I hope they spent some good time with their family. But as a fan, it was just a little too soon for my liking for a break. But we are going to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix this weekend in Baku. It's a pretty exciting race. It is our round fourth race of the season. It also makes it the third out of the first four races this year to be on a street course. So we started in Bahrain at our track. And then we went to Jeddah, which was a street course, Australia, which was a street course, and now here we are in Baku, which is a street course, and another street course after this. But like I said, round four, and this is the third one so far to be on a street course. Which, if you're Red Bull, it doesn't matter if you're on a racetrack or a street course or an ice skating rink or on the side of a mountain. That car is still going to be the fastest and will probably win. And that's what we'll be going over today. Alex will be coming on in a second. We'll be talking about the gossip that we heard over the last couple of weeks because we took last week off. I myself wasn't feeling well, so I needed a little time to recover. But we're going to make our prediction picks. We got our graphic designer coming on in a little bit later on in the show. Technically, you know how this show works with our technical difficulties. We hope it works, but, really no one knows. So we'll have that to chat about, and we're just really excited this week to be back. So, things about Azerbaijan. Like I said, third street race in the first 4 weeks. It's got a very cool tight turn around one of the castles in the city. It's a pretty famous castle there. It's also where Charles Leclerc bended in the wall and then later went on to play F1 video game over COVID and put it in the wall in the same corner in the video game as well. So Charles Leclerc in that corner does not go very well. It also has the longest straight in all of Formula One. It in Mexico, very long straightaways, but this straightaway is actually technically the longest straight on the F1 calendar. So what that means is that a lot of teams are going to trim out their downforce packages. So little downforce, so the air is going to flow over the car better. That way they're faster on the straights. They'll lose a little bit of speed in the corner, but longer the straight, the more speed you want to it. So last 5 race winners I got here right next to me. We have Max won last year, I think pretty dominant fashion. The year before, Sergio Perez wins, and a very exciting late red flag that came out when Max Verstappen blew a tire. He was going to win that race. Hamilton gets the launch off the line in the last restart. He hits what's called the magic button, which turns off some of his brakes to heat other brakes on the car. I forget if it turns off the fronts so that the rears get warmed up more, or vice versa. But basically, he went into turn 1. Looked like he just made a simple driving mistake, but he actually hits what they call the magic button. And Sergio Perez ends up winning that race. They skipped 2020, COVID. 19 Bottas wins. 18 Hamilton wins, and then 17 everyone's favorite reserve driver, Daniel Ricciardo, wins. I actually found some nice facts on a website here. So we are going to take a quick look at that. All right. So just some facts. There's yet to be a repeat winner, at their Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc became the circuit's first repeat pole sitter in 2022. I find that interesting because Max won last year, and I think we were going to probably pick him to win most races. I don't know if I will myself, but so no repeat winners. That's interesting. First race was in 2016 with a different name. From the 6 races held so far at Baku, only Rosberg and Valtteri have won from the pole. Again, interesting fact because I think most likely it's hard for us to not pick Max to put it on pole. So if we put it on pole, statistics aren't really in his favor to win the race. They're not unheard of, but they're not in his favor. So that's interesting. Glad Julian was checking in early with us. Big fan of the show. We appreciate him. Also, during qualifying for a 2016 race, Bottas set an unofficial record for the highest ever speed. Okay, 378 kilometers per hour, or for us Americans, that is 238 miles per hour, which is a moving. Perez holds the record for most podium finishes. Lance Stroll was the second youngest driver to ever score a podium, and he did that in a Williams, which is pretty impressive. So those are just some facts about the track. Times here on the U.S. If you're on the East Coast, I like to shout them out. Friday morning at 5:30 a.m. is the first practice. Friday at 9 a.m. is qualifying. Saturday at 5:30 a.m. is the second practice. Saturday, 9:30 a.m., we get our first sprint race of the season, so me and Alex will be chatting about that. And then Sunday, 7 a.m., is the Grand Prix itself. So that is that. I'm going to get my man Alex dialed in here. What's up, brother?
How's it going?
Oh, man, it's so good to be back with you. Hey, I appreciate your encouraging text last week when I told you we were going to cancel the show. I sent Alex a text. He sent me back some very nice words that were very untrue, but man's a class act always, and I appreciate it. What's up, bud? You happy? We got some racing back this weekend or what?
Happy to get racing back. Definitely looking forward to this one coming up. We got some upgrades coming in, and hopefully we get a little bit of switch up on the grid. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see a switch up. And for speaking upgrades, I heard Red Bull's bringing an upgrade. We briefly mentioned Alex is hoping it makes him go backwards.
I
Uh,
was I was I was well I was
for
trolling, but yeah,
as a race fan,
yeah, yeah.
as
As
a
a
race
race
fan, he
fan, you
wants
don't
to
want to.
see it.
Well, I know we'll see a 45-second gap in lap three for Max.
Yes, so he as a race fan, he wants to see the upgrades go backwards, but he knows that if Red Bull's bringing upgrades,
Not
it's
real.
only
It's
going to make
Adrian
them
Newey.
faster.
It's Adrian Newey, man, genius. You know what's wild about? I saw something about his concept. Everybody thinks it's like, oh, it's a side pod, it's this, it's that. He's saying it's a suspension. He said it's a
Ooh,
front and rear suspension that's drawing out a lot more of the difference between us and the other teams because other teams obviously you don't get to you can see the suspension that's there, but like they aren't paying attention to that when the drastic changes differences on the side pods, which everybody's adapting
yeah.
now, except for
Hmm.
Ferrari and Mercedes. I think the only two teams that aren't adapting it yet, but I'm assuming Mercedes is going to put that on pretty soon, and Ferrari is going to keep sticking with what they got.
Oh yeah, first I saw a thing about Ferrari today that said they're behind. They're a couple months behind on their progress for where they want to be. I think with some upgrades, which would be very Ferrari esque of them. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm
but
sure.
when it comes to suspension, it's funny you say that because way back in the day when Senna was racing, Williams came in, Sir Frank with a crazy trick suspension that had the Williams just winning all the time. And I believe that's why Senna went over to that team. I think they even might have outlawed the suspension. Um, there's so much with downforce and power, but suspension can make such a huge difference. I
Well, it's
think it's
like
pretty underrated.
100%. It's something that I think a lot of team. Well, maybe I'm assuming the technical designers are probably looking at that. But like as the avid fan, it's probably something we don't necessarily always pay attention to as much because it seems like these cars are just like they're glued to the ground. So like watch suspension the way they are is like it's definitely different. And it was interesting thing to hear about to see that that's what Newey thinks is making the difference.
Yeah,
Though it could be Newey just being a Red Bull guy and just saying trying to throw everybody off track. But I digress.
I mean, it could be, but I think like exactly like you say, if Formula One wants to show the avid fan, they want to show them a difference. They're going to show them the side pods, or they're going to find the smallest difference on like the wings,
The
like
wings, yeah.
yeah. But for that, they're not. It's going to be hard for them to break down suspension to like your average fan watching.
Yeah, and it's also a crazy thing to think about because a lot of Red Bull speed comes from straight line speed. It's DRS. It's like they have like double DRS in their car pretty much. Like their straight line speed is insane. Like I think they could overtake without DRS. That's how fast they are in a straight line. And
Can,
to see that Newey thing saying it's a suspension is crazy to me.
can you imagine like
Bro,
FIA
can you imagine being
outlaws
that
Red Bulls?
disrespectful? No, can you imagine being that like imagine Max on the previous race where Lewis was in the lead and Max just like, you know what, I don't need this. And
It
then
passes.
he just
It
overtakes
pa-
Lewis, no DRS.
oh
Like
my
if I'm
god.
Lewis, I lose four. I'm like, what are we doing?
You know what?
Why are
You
we
know
even in the
what?
same race?
You know what? Freaking I clip. You know what? Clip that because I like that. How do you break a man early on in the season? Pass him without the DRS. Dude, that would
On a
that
long
would
straight, on a
that
straight.
would break him. Oh my god, that's a good point. And like you have the fastest car, you could probably pass him later on in the race with DRS, right? But imagine if Max like gave himself like 7 or 8 laps and be like, I think if I get out of the last corner perfect, I could catch a little toe, pass him without DRS. He'll be crying in his helmet. Oh my gosh, that'd
Like,
be
dude, like
crazy.
I would be like so Azerbaijan has a long straight, like we're saying, so obviously there's gonna be a long DRS zone. So if I'm Max, like if I really want to get in, like obviously Max doesn't have to get in anybody's heads. He's clearly gonna win this championship. Far going, nothing happens to him medically or anything. But he like if I want to get in Lewis's head, I'm overtaking him without DRS on a straight. It's just too easy right now. I think they can keep up.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I like that. That's amazing. I'm a big fan of that. This weekend also though, besides the little upgrades, we get our first sprint race of the week. Our
Yeah.
first sprint race of the year. Excuse me. Um, so if you guys aren't familiar, it changes up the format like I just said. Instead of them having what's traditionally one, two, three practices, qualifying, and then race. It's one practice, qualifying, and that sets the grid for the sprint race. There's another practice, and then the sprint race, and then the actual race. So qualifying, in my mind, is still as exciting. As just a race junkie, I like the fact that we get to watch qualifying on a Friday. We get a race on Saturday, and then we get a race on Sunday. So there's no like, usually Friday is just a day of practice. So as a fan, I like it. I could probably do without it though. At the same time, I'm not like 100% sold on it. I think it puts a lot on the teams. It might take a little bit away from qualifying, not the end of the world. But that's what I think. I don't know. What's your fan level of the sprint race?
I think it provides the most entertainment. I do personally like it, but I do understand people's qualms with it. I like in qualifying. The exciting part about qualifying is the car's on the edge, and you're pushing it as much as humanly possible. So you want to be as prepared for that as possible. And to only get one practice, and yeah, these guys are professionals, and they should be able to just memorize the track and stuff like that. But like they're always making micro adjustments between every practice and stuff like that. So I can understand why people don't like the sprint race because it takes away from the qualifying, but I do find it more exciting. I find it more entertaining. I don't think there's been a boring sprint race. I know Brazil is always exciting. Um, yeah, I don't think there's been a boring sprint race.
Yeah, you know what? If I maybe boring sprint race, I'm not sure if Imola last year that track is going to be on the on probably the more boring side in general,
Yeah,
it being
but
hard to
it also.
pass. But
So how do the tires work in this? Because like I know they're all, allocated X amount of tires for between qualifying and stuff. So does the sprint race change that at all? Because I think what makes the sprint race so exciting is people start off on softs because they only have 17 laps or whatever it is, or and then they just push the car as much as possible to try to get as many positions up the grid. So do they change the way the tire rules work? Do you know
you
or
know
no?
what, I don't know, and I'm still actually vague on the exact rules for the regular race format for the weekend. If you're inside the top 10, you can't just put on like whatever tire. I think you have to. I think sometimes that's why you see those guys run two compounds sometimes in
Mm-hmm.
qualifying. There's something to that. So I don't know. But yeah, usually you get like everyone runs the soft and maybe one person will run the medium. Or sometimes everyone runs the medium, one person runs the soft, but you know that person's going to fall off. Um,
Yeah.
but you're right. They get to take this gamble and it's like you're committed to it because there's like no pit stops. Like what you choose
Yeah,
is
it's
normally.
it's like a longer version of qualifying. It's kind of the way I see it, and it's like you get to put the car on the line as much as possible. Obviously, you
Yeah,
don't want to be putting up qualifying time lapse. Like you don't want to be putting up. I don't know what the average lap is around Azerbaijan, but like you don't want to be putting up like 129s in Australia or whatever it is, and then
Yeah.
go to the race and put up 129s too. But I think it does make it exciting. Plus, there's also like, have we gotten through a race this year without an early lap incident? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think Bahrain had any cautions early.
The spring break killed me because I don't remember.
Yeah, no. Jeddah had that caution and lap, whatever it was, where everyone
Oh
pitted.
no! Well, yeah, no, they didn't because Lance ran into Alonso, turn
Yeah,
four.
but no one spun out.
Nothing,
Or
yeah, nothing happened there.
yeah, so
But that hurt Alonso for a little bit, didn't it?
yeah, that's the race that he recovered. He ended up, third.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting because I mean we're really like looking at what ifs here, because if the format wasn't this way, it wouldn't happen like this. But like Kevin Magnussen qualifies first at Brazil last year
yeah, I
because of
remember
the
that.
rain, and then like, but
He pieced
he
that.
qualified first for the sprint race. So you were kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, he's gonna get shuffled back in the sprint race, and then that is what it is. Whereas if there was no sprint race and that was just qualifying, then it'd be like,
He's
okay,
first.
Kevin Magnussen starting first in the race, like this may affect the race. But I feel like there was already these like implications that like, all right, they're gonna shuffle K Mag back a few spots, and that's gonna be that. So I think it takes away from that qualifying in that aspect a little bit. Um,
Yeah,
like you can't forget like Lewis's win in Brazil 2 years ago now. Um,
that was fun to watch. He
it
started
was
what
fun to
P20
well
in this front race.
yeah in the sprint race, and then he gains a whole bunch of positions, and then takes
Yeah,
another penalty in the race.
yeah, it
Um,
was like 5 penalties back, right, or something like
yeah, but
that.
without that sprint race, he doesn't get
I
that
still,
chance to make that up. So
I still think he wins that race, but yeah, I agree with you. It created a
yeah,
more exciting weekend.
yeah, but can you imagine though him starting dead last in the race? And that's also part of the reason why some of these guys they'll take their engine penalties towards the end of the year on weekends where they know it's the sprint race, so that way they just they
Yeah,
have the
true.
sprint race to advance positions. They'll take
Hmm.
the penalty after qualifying before the sprint race, and then the sprint race will kind of boost them up. So it's interesting. I'd go either way. I love the racing. I think I'm with you. I like it. You could sell me on it either way. I guess I put it that way.
Yeah,
I'm
same here. I can agree with
I'm
you
not
there.
yeah, I'm not dying on any hill saying this is right or wrong. Um, what do you as far as street courses go? It's this courses doesn't produce the most excitement out of the season, but there's definitely passing here. I would say, that long straightaway
Yeah,
gives
that long straight.
opportunity. Um, I think there's that second DRS zone really early on in the lap. I believe it's where we go into corner one, corner two, down into three. I think it is. Usually, I think you're only getting guys passing there if you have like fresher tires, really blowing by through there. But then it's kind of follow the leader through most of the
Yeah,
rest of that.
these track races kind of like track races as a whole. They kind of street races as a whole. They kind of suck because the cars are too big. Like you don't get the exciting overtaking and stuff. But those long straights provide something.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how these cars perform some of these upgrades. Because is McLaren bringing anything? You know,
I believe they
because I
were.
know Red Bull.
I believe they were good. They were saying they were going to bring upgrades, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if they actually brought anything. Um,
All right, so we got a little bit of time before we bring on our special guest. Do you want to guess our qualifying?
ooh, we guess quality real quick before we get our guest
Yeah,
on.
before we get yeah.
Okay, I got my picks here, but let me write. All right,
Oh
I don't
wow.
have. No, I have my race picks. I don't have my quality picks. So let me write
Okay.
this down.
So
Um,
we'll do top five. We'll do top five for both, or top three for qualifying, and then top five for the race.
what do we normally do? We do top three for quality
I think we do
usually,
top. I
right?
don't. Yeah, I think so. I think we do top three, and then we do top five for the race.
Yeah. All right. Go. I'm first for race picks this week, so I'll just go first for qualifying this week. We'll keep
All
it the
right.
same. Okay. So I think I'm gonna go. I gotta go Max. It's so boring, but I gotta do it.
All right. I'm gonna I'm gonna go a little interesting here, only because I think Max is gonna try to play the long game. I don't think he cares about the polls. I think Checo's gonna take pole because, like you
Ooh.
said, no one's has won from pole, and I think Max is gonna do anything possible to not give himself any bad juju.
Before we
So,
continue,
with that being said,
yep.
sorry,
Before
go.
we continue though, real quick, this is where Sprint throws an interesting monkey wrench into the statistics. So, like, yeah, Max might not qualify pole, but he could win the sprint
Wait,
race
so
and
are we
then
doing
start
are we doing
first.
qualifying, or are we doing qualifying sprint qualifying?
No, we're never doing. I don't think we're not doing
We're
sprint.
never doing sprint qualifying. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no, no.
yeah,
We're just.
I'll stick with Checo. I'll stick with Checo then, just to be
But I'm
different
just
then. All right.
right. That throws like a kind of a
Yeah, it
monkey
does.
wrench into things. Um. So, um, and I see Ryan's about to get on. We're gonna have him on in a second once we make these picks. All right. So I got Max first. You got Checo. You
Yeah.
know what? Whatever. I'm gonna throw Alonso in here. I want to have some fun. So I'm gonna
P
go. I'm
two.
gonna go.
All right, then
I'm gonna go Alonso
I'll
P2.
go. I'll go Max P2.
You're gonna go Max P2. All right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Whatever. I'll send it. Checo P3.
Checo P3. All right, I'll go George P3.
Oh, I like it. George beats Lewis last year. Has a better race. I'm a fan of that. That's a good pick right there. I always love your picks. All right. Let's see. Let's see how technically we can get this done. And seriously, if you follow along with the stream at all, you know that we have technical difficulties on technical difficulties here. So,
I can hear him. Can you hear him?
no, oh no.
No, wait, you can't hear him.
Ryan, are you
I
here?
can, Ryan's here. I see him.
Oh my gosh, I can't
You
hear
can't
him.
hear him. Yo, it's on your end then. Yes, it's not me. I thought it was my crappy internet.
Oh no. Yo, what's up? Ryan, are you there?
You had it right the first time.
All right, you're there?
I think it's that way. I think I could be wrong. John's the one who like edits it like that. So
Wait,
can you see him,
Alex.
John?
Yeah, I can see him. I can't hear him though.
Is he right side up though? Just so we
No,
know.
he's got to lock his
Okay,
screen
other way
and then
around.
go.
Complete opposite way around. Oh, you have to lock your screen too.
Yeah, but I can't hear him.
I don't know why you can't hear him. It's so weird. Maybe because we're both on mobile and are you on mobile too? No,
No,
you're on your
yeah,
webcam, right?
yeah.
No, yeah.
All right. Well,
Hold on,
why
before
is
we finish this, before we get to let's get our picks through, and then we'll figure this out. So you're on P3. Who's your You got Alonso, right? For qualifying.
yeah. No, for
Okay, let's go to
quali,
the race.
I have
Yeah,
Max,
you got
Alonso,
Alonso.
Checo.
Okay. So all right. So let's go to the race. Who do you got?
No, no, no. We're not picking the race. We'll pick the race after we get done with Ryan.
You sure?
Yeah, because we're gonna need like a
All right.
minute to pick this out. All right. So I think, and this is nonsense, but I think I'm gonna close the stream, see what happens, and then reboot it up.
Do you have to close it? Can you just close Streamlabs and then come back in
That's what.
on
Yeah,
your
but
end?
I
Oh yeah, it
assume.
cancels the stream when you do that.
I don't know. We're gonna find out. I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Keep the stream going.